Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session we are going to look into get element by ID, get element by class and get element by tag. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code to understand what actually it is. So in our earlier session we have looked into how to grab the reference of the DOM element within an hierarchy using query selector and query selector all. When we want to reference the single element, then we have used the query selector, but when we want to reference all the element, then we will use query selector all. Now in this session we will look into some of the other methodology by which we can grab the reference of DOM element and then we will select that element to do the further processing. So let's look into the HTML page. What are the element exist, and then we will write the code accordingly. So this is the same HTML page. We are having a div with an ID and another div within that is having a classes. Now what we will do in this exercise, we will grab this ID and we will select the main div using ID by a method called get element by ID. So let's do it. So earlier we have seen the CSS selector using the query selector. Now in this session we are going to look into the get element by ID first. So let's do it. So const, we can tell that get element by ID equal to, and we need to specify document dot get element by ID, and we need to specify which ID we want to take the reference. So here we are going to use this main. So let's do it. Write main, save it. Now we will console log this variable. So how we can do that? We need to tell console.log and specify the variable. Save it. Let's look into the output. What output we got? One thing, you make sure that you should specify within the codes. So save it. Now jump into the browser to see the output. So see here, it has grabbed the ID main and whatever the element exists within that. So this way you can grab the element by ID. Now let's proceed further. Now we will look into some other method that is called get element by class name. So let's do it. So let's grab the same thing, copy it, paste it over here and specify, instead of get element by ID, we need to specify dot get element by class name. And the class which we are going to grab is the social icon. So take the reference of it and this time we will pass it over here and make sure that it is into the quotes. Save it. Let's jump into the browser to see the output. So this time it has returned the HTML collection, and within that all the element which is having the social icon, it has kept it. And this HTML collection is different than node list. Node list you are having a for each method. For HTML collection we don't have. If we try to use the for each method, it will not work. It will throw error. So let's try it. So let's write it. Grab the object, and over here we need to specify for each, like how we are specifying, and here we need to specify the parameter, and from there we need to grab this parameter and we need to console.log, and here we need to specify g. Save it. Let's jump into the browser to see the output, what output we are getting. Save it, and you will find that it has returned that ge.forEach is not a function. So in short, you can't apply for each method on HTML collection. So let's remove this, select this one, remove it, save it now. So to grab the single element, how we can do that? We need to specify the square bracket notation and we need to specify the index. Save it. Let's look into the output. So here you will see that it has returned us the first element from HTML collection. Now let's proceed further. Now we will look into get element by tag name. So how we can do that? It is almost the same way. The method will be changed, so we need to specify over here. So better take copy it, paste it over here and then specify get element by tag name, and here you need to specify which tag you want to grab. So you need to specify, for example we are having over here the p tag. We can take the reference of the p tag, save it, and this time we need to remove it. Later we will do this exercise. So save it. Now let's jump into the browser to see the output, and here you will find that it has returned the HTML collection. So if you want to grab a single element, how we can do that? We have already seen this. We need to specify the square bracket notation over here, 0. Save it. Let's look into the output, and this time it has returned this step by step. So you can clear this out, reload it, then you will find that it has returned the first element, which is a index 0 of GEI HTML collection. So all these methods is one of the way by which you can select the element within the DOM. So apart from query selector, you can use all these methods as well whenever you require, but most of the time the query selector is very handy for selecting the DOM element. So on this note, I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.